Australian made and owned, Hi-Tech Oils is one of the largest oil blenders in Australia with a truly national profile, supplying an extensive range of oils, coolant, grease, batteries and much more for all businesses and consumer needs. Choose Hi-Tech Oils for peace of mind.
On today's show, we head to Sydney Dragway as a brand new season of the 400 Thunder drag racing series gets underway with the Atlantic Oils East Coast Thunder. This week it's the factory hot rods of Pro Stock to kick off proceedings. Then we head south to Melbourne and the high banks of the Calder Park Thunderdome as the Hi-Tech Drift All-Star Series turns up the heat with the penultimate round of the 2019 series. This is Speedweek.
Welcome to a brand new season of 400 Thunder professional drag racing. We're at Sydney Dragway for the Atlantic Oils East Coast Thunder. On today's show, we're going to be checking out all of the action of the first round of the Pro Stock category. And Mark Allen, it's a whole new world for these guys this year.
It is a big challenge for the Pro Stock teams. Previously, they've all run on the leaded fuel for their cars. This season, the government has brought in a new rule that all leaded fuels are banned. The cars have been changed over to unleaded fuel, and with that change, we've also made some changes to the weight in the class, and Benny Bishop has caught up with the head of the Pro Stock Association now.
The first round of the 2019-2020 season presents some interesting challenges for Pro Stock now that the government has outlawed leaded fuels. So change the fuel and you have to change the whole engine management system and the fuel delivery. So how's that going to affect performance? Let's have a chat to the president of the Pro Stock Association, Peter Ridgway. What's going to be the change on racetrack, mate?
Oh, look, the change on the racetrack is when or the introduction of unleaded fuel, we were concerned with a little disadvantage in performance. So probably one of the biggest things we did to the car was reduce the weight by 25 odd kilos. That gives us a total weight now of 1,022 kilos. So that's the biggest change to the car. The motors, we've had to play around and see what they like. There haven't really been the amount of changes that we envisaged, so that's been quite good. And the power level is a little bit back from where we were, but not what we expected. So I believe the performance level of the car will be parallel, if not better.
There was going to be concerns about how many people would actually make up the field with those potential changes, but you've got the biggest roll-up of all the pro categories. That's a vote of confidence.
Look, a great vote of confidence, and I think in the last 12 months we've worked really hard to not really rock the boat, don't bring any new rules in, and run with what we've got and get the cars on the track and race. And it's really been good. The guys are sort of dug deep, they're having a crack, and the roll-up is great.
And one of those guys who's having a crack is not just a racer, he's a multiple champion and an engine builder, and Matt Kavanagh's with him right now.
Yeah, we are here with Aaron Tremayne, and Aaron, you've got a lot of experience dynoing these engines, not just for yourself, but for plenty of customers. How do you think the changes are going to affect you this season?
Well, as far as unleaded fuels, I think it's going to be a bit of a change for everyone, lose a little bit of power. But honestly, VP, which is what we're using this weekend and have been testing on, they've done an unbelievable job with their fuel, and we couldn't be happier to be running it. And I think their cars are going to be pretty fast, especially with a 50-pound weight brake, so we're back to 2250. We've done some testing, Wayne's done some testing, a few other guys have too, and everyone's ran pretty good, so it should be interesting to see what we can lay down later on.
And a fantastic field of Pro Stock cars here this weekend as well. You've got 12, you can, well, 11 actually now competing for this one. It's going to be a fantastic event, really, isn't it?
Yeah, the first round's always a bit quiet normally as far as the championship concerned, but I think, 11 cars this weekend, and then I think we'll just get more and more throughout the year for sure.
Well, this is the way they finished the championship last season, and it was that man, Aaron Tremayne, that claimed the title ahead of Chris Soldatis and then his brother Tyrone Tremayne. Jody Racco, Wayne Daly, Brian Purcell all performed well at different events through the season. But those points, they count for nothing. Everybody is back on zero. This is absolutely the start point for a whole new championship season. Qualifying session 1 at Sydney Dragway's Atlantic Oils East Coast Thunder.
First up on track, we had Jason Hedges. Now, he went pretty quick in testing the lead up to this event. He's going to be one to watch. Clint George, the rookie in Pro Stock, stepping up from our performance classes.
Yeah, we really couldn't wait to see what the effect was going to be. Jason Hedges, well, out very, very cleanly.
It wasn't as quick as he's probably hoping for. A 7.26 from Jason Hedges, and Clint George in his first ever Pro Stock pass goes 7.33 beside him.
They're on the board, that's what counts. Here's Rob Deckett trying to do the same with his unique smash repairs Pontiac GXP. And in beside him, Bruce Leak, the Canberran racer, former Australian champion.
Yeah, Rob Deckett started in Pro Stock last season and was pretty strong as well early on. Here he goes 7.15, goes to the early number 1 spot at the moment, and Bruce Leak beside him goes 7.24. Yeah,
Bruce Leak showing some good power there, but still looks like he's got those clutch issues off the start line. Now, here's the guy that ended up number 2 last season, and I'm talking about Chris Soldatis in the far lane. Nino Cavello had 2 goes at the throttle there.
Yeah, he left before the light had actually activated Cavello. Chris Soldatis goes through for a 7.67 second pass there. Probably not what they were expecting. He might have got thrown off a little bit on the start line by Cavello.
Well, yeah, that leaves Chris Soldatis a long way down the list already. And look at the next 2 to come. Tyrone Tremayne and Wayne Daly in the Diamond T Custom Toolboxes Dodge.
This would be a really good indication of what we're going to see over the weekend. Wayne Daly, 6.95 beside Tremayne, 6.99.
Both of those cars showing good form, and we're into the 6s again. What can our champ do? The Next Gen Engineering car comes out of the hole very nicely. Has he got enough in the second half?
And he does. He goes 6.99 as we move into Q2 for Pro Stock. We had 8 cars out on track in that first session. Of course, Nino Cavello in front of us. He did not get a time in that session. This pass will give us 9 cars and someone on the outside looking in.
Well, we've got Soldatis against Cavello again in Q2. Both of these cars I would have expected to be in the top few. Cavello out in front this time, but comes up with a 7.09. Soldatis a 7.15. Really not the results we would have expected from those 2, Mark.
Yeah, I think that they would have been hoping for very low 7.0s after we've seen those other cars in the 6-second zone. Next pairing up, Rob Deckett and Clint George, the rookie. He's now on the outside looking in, trying to get back into the field. Deckett goes 7.24.
Clint George 7.18, but look at the trouble he's in the top end. No parachutes. He's got the brakes locked up, totally sideways into the gravel pit, and didn't get the wall.
Wow, have a look at this. Clint George, he's travelling over 100 metres a second there across the finish line. No parachutes, locks it up. Now, normally when you got slicks, big rear slicks like that and you go sideways, they tend to grip and flip over, but it didn't happen here. How lucky for Clint George. They've got a bit of clean-up to get back out for Q3 if they can.
Well, here is Tyrone Tremayne coming in beside Jason Hedges. Hedges this time, well, he's still got some problems. Tyrone Tremayne, 6.974.
He improves by a couple of hundreds here in Q2. I expected the cars to improve this session as they get a little bit more data. The conditions are starting to cool down a little bit. It was very hot in Q1. Bruce Leak in front of us. Can he improve now as well? He wasn't straight off the line. Bruce Leak goes through, runs to 7.17. He does improve. Oh, got a little bit of bumps there in the braking area for Bruce Leak, but he's in the field at the moment.
Well, Wayne Daly we saw come out and lay down a 6.95 at big terminal speed in Q1. Q2, went after it and got some tyre shake very early in the run. He's clicked it off, rolls it through, and he's going to just sit on that earlier 695, which still has him in number one spot at this point. As we go under lights at Sydney Dragway's Atlantic Oil East Coast Thunder, and the Friday night crowd starts to trickle in. Well, Benny Bishop was having a ball down there on the start line.
Put your hands together for Jason Hedges Racing and their new look GXP Pontiac.
Jason Hedges is the man on the outside looking in, Mark. He's currently number 9. You've got to be in the top 8 to get in the field.
He wants to do that, especially for his new supporters on board this weekend. J&D Custom Cabinetry on the team. Jason Hedges has gone to an all-Aussie motor-built engine this weekend with SRP supplying the power. They went 700 in testing at the old weight, so they are now 25 kilos lighter. He's got the performance. They've had some issues with the clutch in the first 2 qualifying sessions. They've changed a few things with the clutch plates going into this pass. Fingers crossed for the team, they get into the field. Bruce Leak on the other side is in the field at the moment. He's looking to improve as well.
Yeah, Bruce Leak still not happy with the way the car is leaving the start line, so that's the area that both of these teams have been concentrating in that, hour and a half sort of turnaround since Q2. In the meantime, the sun's gone down. The track's cooled off from the scorching heat we had earlier. The conditions should be pretty good here.
I think we should see easily the quickest passes of the day in this session. Bruce Leak is currently number 7. Jason Hedges is number 9.
Leak's got a 717 on the board. He really does need to step that up.
I think both players here would probably want something in the 7.0s, low 7.1s right now. Well, that's Jason Hedges' best launch of the weekend. There you go. Both cars improved. 7.03 from Hedges, 7.11 for Bruce Leak. They're in the field at the moment.
Number 4, guys, you'd be happy with that.
Yeah, for sure. We've been struggling today, and to get that pass down is really good. I'm sure Jace would be very happy. So I know I'm happy.
Yeah, a few fist pumps in the cockpit.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, the team's been working very hard trying to make a few changes, and it's really good to be in the field.
There it is, number 4 in the run there, and not too bad considering that beautiful new livery.
Both cars did pick up in the 60-foot, which has helped them along, but Jason Hedges from nowhere to a 7.0, knocking on the top half of the field.
That was a great pass. Well, he is actually in the top half of the field at the moment. In number 4 qualifier, looking at the Sunoco replay here, and Bruce Lee consolidates his spot inside the top 8, but is it enough to stay there? Because I think we're going to see improvements from all the teams this session.
Well, the issue now is Clint George is the guy that's on the outside looking in. He needs to bump in. But we're not even sure whether he's in the staging lanes yet, because they'll have a fair bit of work to do with all of that gravel right through the car after his earlier incident.
And I'm guessing they probably would need to look at the rear slicks because they're locked up and that, so they would have had a lot of work to do. Hopefully they make it out, because they are now on the outside looking in. Not on the outside looking in, though, are these 2 cars in front of us. Nino Cavello coming forward to take on Chris Soldatis.
Well, Chris Soldatis, as I said earlier, was number 2 in the championship, was a contender right through to the Gulf Western Oil Winter Nationals. But he has struggled in qualifying, and to be honest, I would have thought we would have seen Nino Cavello well into the 6-second zone by now as well.
Well, they've both got the performance there. They've both got the horsepower. It is about finding that setup. We do have that new fuel on board this weekend as well, so they're all still finding their way around it, what the engines want, make sure they're not hurting parts and so forth. Right now, though, Cavello is currently 5th. Chris Soldatis is on the bump spot with a 7.15.
Mark, taking that 25 kilos out of the car, that would, I guess, throw a lot of suspension and clutch settings out the door as well. You've got to really fine-tune that.
You do, and a lot of these cars actually run weight in around the car. They can move weight around the rear end of the car. They can put it over the rear wheels, put it to the middle. They can actually go up and down with the weight if they want to change the balance of the car and so forth. And that 25 kilos, ET-wise, is worth about 1/200th of a second as well when they take that weight away.
So Pro Stock is a matter of thousands. These guys don't go out there trying to chase a tenth of a second. They go out trying to chase 2,000s here, 3,000s there. If we make this change in the ratio, will we pick up 5,000s between here and there? And it all adds up to better performances. Well, Soldatis still doesn't look happy. He's right over near the centre line. Cavallo on his way. 7:06, 310 kilometres now. That's starting to show its performance, but Soldatis still struggling with 7:22.
Yeah, definitely Soldatis is struggling. Look at Sunoco replay here. You can see it sort of hesitated on the start line there. The thing with Soldatis at the moment, the ET isn't reflecting the speed that he's got going across the finish line. He's doing well over 300 kilometres an hour. He's got the horsepower there, so what that tells me at the moment is he's set up in the first half of the track that needs to be looked at, improved on, and we should see the performances that we expect from Soldatis.
Well, at the moment he's in the field and that's what counts, but making a nice step forward is Nino Cavallo on the right-hand side of the racetrack. But Chris Soldatis is still mired back in that 8th spot as we see Rob Deckett and Aaron Tremayne come forward for their final qualifying session. Benny Bishop, he's down on the start line with crew chief for Soldatis, and I'd say they've got to be a worried team.
Prior to this round, they decided that based on the change of the fuel and everything that affects that, Peter Ridgway, that they would reset the national record to a 7:01.95, with 313 k's an hour, to give an equilibrium. We would have thought it would have gone in the first couple of passes, and now they're struggling.
Yeah, look, it's a funny game, but I'm sure they will get there. There's a couple of fast cars in the back, I think, that'll light the board up. We're struggling, and we need to go back and do a bit more homework. We've had no track time, and I think it's bit us on the bum.
I'm not used to seeing you struggling.
Well, I'm only human.
Peter Ridgway, back to you guys.
Well, that human was the first Pro Stock driver in the country to run a 7-second pass. Came out of retirement to become the first Pro Stock driver in Australia to run a 6-second pass. So, yeah, he may be human, but sometimes he's a little bit superish human.
Well, the interesting thing I take from Ridgway's comments there, that they didn't test in the lead up to this event. They are struggling a little bit. One team that tested a lot before this event is Aaron Tremayne on screen. And that's really showed in the results that we've seen so far in qualifying, running to that 6-second zone, as well as his brother and the engine setup for Wayne Daly. So we know they've got the power on board here. I think this session right now is probably 300 or 400 quicker than what we saw earlier today in the heat. Aaron Tremayne, can he go quicker than that 6:99 that we saw?
I don't think we've seen the best from Rob Deckett. Oh, he got loose off the start line, clicked it off. Let's see what Tremayne comes up with. Can he go to number 1? No. 6:96 with a 6, 314 kilometres an hour. Man, they're running some big speeds, Mark.
Oh, he does improve by 0.03 of a second, misses that number 1 spot by 100. Goes red on the tree. It doesn't matter. It's qualifying. Get it out of your system, I like to say. But it was a clean pass from Aaron Tremayne. They'll be happy with that. Rob Deckett just missed it. So close to getting that car off the start line under power there. But just a little bit off. You look to the right of screen, Sunoco replay here for Rob Deckett. Starts off strong, the wheels up there, and then just makes a little move. And with these Pro Stock cars, once you're out of the groove and you're button off, that's it. Just coast on through.
Well, Benny Bishop is down there on the start line. The next gen Pro Stock team are really coming at us.
Thanks very much, guys. Time for us to do our next reveal for a new look race car. Get your hands ready to put some applause together as we roll out the new look Camaro. Put your hands together for Tremaniac Racing, Aaron Tremayne.
In beside Tyrone will be our number 1 qualifier, Wayne Daly in the Diamond T Custom Toolboxes car. But Tyrone, he showed very good pace in qualifying this afternoon, Mark.
He'll be licking his lips as well. He's just seen his brother improve by 0.03 of a second. And another person that will be chomping at the bit right now will be Wayne Daly. Our number 1 qualifier ran a 6:95 earlier. Now these conditions, because today was so hot, the track was a little bit greasy, you couldn't really get after the start line. So right now, because the track gets a little bit better at night as it cools down, has a little bit more forgiveness for these cars here on the start line. They can get a little bit more aggressive, throw a little bit more fuel in the car, make a little bit more horsepower. So gradually these ETs do get a little bit quicker as they learn and add to these cars as it gets better.
Well, Wayne Daly no doubt wants to cement his spot at the top of the field. He is in number 1 at the moment, but he's also in a position to reset the Australian Pro Stock national record at the moment. So that might be on his mind. Meanwhile, Kyle Hoff, he's going to guide Aaron Tremayne into the beams. You mentioned that he saw his brother pick up a couple of hundredths in that last pass, but that also means he saw his brother bump him back in the qualifying field to third. So can he come back around? Can he go to number one? Can he go to number two? They're all the questions that get asked when we run Q3, the final shot for these guys to set the field for tomorrow's elimination racing.
Both cars sub 1 second to the 60 foot. The first time we've seen it today.
Oh, look at that. Wayne Daly, 691. Aaron Tremayne, 692. They're both 316 kilometres an hour. That is your 1 and 2.
That is one of the quickest side-by-side passes I've ever seen in pro stock. On board with Tremayne. Have a look at this car shifting through those gears. 316 kilometres an hour. Shoots out. Time to slow down. What a side-by-side race. This is only Q3 as well, Rob.
Oh, so little between that pair in performance on the racetrack, and has really set the scene for an incredible round one of eliminations tomorrow. Wayne Daly is our top qualifier. He is going to take on number 2 from last year, Chris Saldatis. Aaron Tremayne goes into second to face Rob Deckett. Aaron Tremayne will face Bruce Leake, and Jason Hedges up against Nino Cavello. Those pair only separated by 0.03 of a second. This is going to be absolutely awesome. Clearly, Chris Saldatis agrees. Don't go anywhere. We're going to bring you round one straight after this break. Welcome back to Sydney Dragway. It's the East Coast Thunder kicking off a whole new season of 400 Thunder professional drag racing. It is a warm summer's day here at Sydney, and the crowd, they are absolutely flocking in. We got our professional category drivers and riders autograph session happening down there. The fans getting their posters, and Wayne Daly is the man that's on top of the qualifying heap for Pro Stock. And Benny Bishop, well, he's always keen for an autograph.
With the autograph session in full swing, we take the opportunity to have a chat with top qualifier in Pro Stock, Wayne Daly. Nice work.
Yeah, it's on the start of the season. Top qualifying in the first round's an achievement for us guys. We've only ever top qualified once or twice in a very long career, so it's a highlight for us, this event, that's for sure.
What does it do to set the tone for the rest of the weekend?
We're on a high, and let's just hope that it stays that way. Next round was always a bit scary, to get past that first one, and then we just go from there and try and carry it through to the final if we can.
Let's have a look at these pairings. Mark, I mean, there's some great races there. Which is your matchup of the round?
I'm looking at that matchup, the first pairing right there on top, Wayne Daly, Chris Saldatis. It may be 1 against 8. You cannot take Chris Saldatis lightly. I think he was a little bit off in qualifying, but I think those guys are very, very close to finding what that car wants and needs. He's got the speed there. It's going to be a tough run.
Hedges and Cavello's my pick. I think that'll be a cracking race, but, well, it's Pro Stock. We're used to seeing races won and lost by as little as 1,000th or sometimes even a 10,000th of a second. And it was my pick that's up first. There's Jason Hedges burning out in the Pontiac GXP. And Nino Cavello, he is in the Dodge. That car showed incredible pace last season. Let's see whether he's been able to transfer that into the new era of unleaded fuel and the 25 kilo lighter weight limit that we have for this current 400 Thunder season of Pro Stock.
Only 0.03 of a second separated these two cars here. Nino Cavello backing up. He was in position number 5. Jason Hedges position number 4. Hedges with the lane choice. He's thrown Nino Cavello into the right side of the racetrack here at Sydney Dragway. Both cars now moving forward. Final adjustments here on the wheelie bars.
Our 400 Thunder season begins with an eliminator format race here at this Atlantic Oils East Coast Thunder, and it ends with an eliminator race at the Winter Nationals. In between, we run our 3-round all-run format, but this is an eliminator. You lose, you're back on the trailer, you pack up, you go home. You win, you come back for the next round.
Reaction times will be vital between these two cars.
Very even at half track. Hedges has got some power.
Hedges gets the win, goes 718, 306 kilometres an hour. Nino Cavello goes 738, 287 kilometres an hour there for the loss. Well, both cars running a little bit slower than what we saw yesterday. Let's look at the Sunoco replay here. Nothing between them off the start line. I couldn't see too many issues with Cavello's car there, but yeah, Jason Hedges gets the win.
Well, I actually thought Hedges was doing a big top-end surge, but in actual fact, Cavello was fading. So keep an eye on that car on the left of screen, because it certainly didn't bring it home the way we would have expected. Oh, Matt Kavanagh will be in the braking area with a very happy first-round winner.
Yeah, got a happy Jason Hedges down here. You said you had to short shift that through the gears. We can see that a 718 up on the time board.
Yeah, not our best run. If it was qualifying or testing, I would have got out of it, but I knew it was race day, so I kept pushing that gear shift as hard as I could and put in top gear, and we got there with the win, so I'm really, really pleased with that. We get to come out here again, so yeah, hopefully we can clean that up.
Yeah, let's see who you get in round 2.
Yeah, it'll be someone tough. Don't worry about that. It's pro stuff. Thank you.
I guess for you guys, a bit of a rattle. It wasn't exactly where you were wanting.
No, it wasn't the best pass, but we got the win, which is the main thing. So we'll go get some data now, and hopefully we can get a bit better for the next round.
It'll be a bit cooler too.
Yeah, it should be. Should be good.
Well, here is our defending champion, Aaron Tremayne, for Tremaniac Racing, and of course their family business, Next Gen Engineering. In beside him is, of course, Bruce Leake, the former Australian champion in this category, and has made some good progress forward with the setup in this car across the weekend.
Yeah, they're making little gains pass after pass, just hundredths at a time here, and they'll probably want a few more hundreds here against Aaron Tremayne. But I'll ask you this, Rob, when was the last time you saw Aaron Tremayne qualify third?
I cannot recall Aaron Tremayne qualifying third. He's won a string of Pro Stock championships, and he is normally 1 or 2. Very rarely 2, for that matter.
I'm hearing you. Bruce Leake looking for the upset here in round 1. He qualified number 6. Aaron Tremayne was third.
Well, I think Tremayne's got out on him a little bit, and that'll make life difficult for Bruce Leake. Aaron Tremayne claims the win light, 6.99, 3.14. Still the speed is up there, but maybe the warmer conditions in round 1 is just sapping a little bit of horsepower out of these cars at the moment compared to last night.
I think you're absolutely spot on there, Rob. 6.99. I reckon they'll be pretty happy with that run in these conditions. It is nice and warm up, well over 30 degrees here at Sydney Dragway today. Not the conditions you want in a naturally aspirated car. As we watch the Sunoco replay here, that was a good run straight down the centre of the track for Aaron Tremayne for the win here.
Well, Tremayne pulling his way through the gears on that 5-speed transmission, and really was picture perfect, just not quite as quick as he would have hoped, but it's all about a win light, particularly in elimination racing. And oh, nice and sideways in the burnout is his brother. Going to be taking on Rob Deckett. Battle of the Camaro versus GXP.
Rob Deckett taking on Aaron Tremayne here. Now, Rob Deckett's probably a little bit down on horsepower compared to the other cars, but they really have a handle on the other side of things. And when I say that, I'm talking about like the chassis, the suspension, gearing. They're maximising the potential from those things and really keeping competitive with these other guys that have got a little bit more horsepower on them.
Well, the reality is you can put the best horsepower in the world under the bonnet, but unless you've got the car right, you're wasting your time. Whereas if you go through all of those little thousandths details that we talked about, the things that'll give you a couple of thou here, a couple of thou there, maybe 100th there, you get all that right, then go chase horsepower. If you got the setup, once you get the horsepower, you've got a winning combination.
Final adjustments on the wheelie bars here. One of the reasons they check the wheelie bars, especially on a day like this where it's hot, obviously when you do the burnout, you're generating heat in those big rear slicks, heat expands, and the expansion on the rear slicks can actually change the ride height a little bit, so they always check the wheelie bars as well after the burnout.
It comes down to all sorts of details. Like a new set of tyres is about 2 kilos heavier than a 20-run old set that are still sticky. So if the track's good... Whoa!
Oh no, Aaron Tremayne has gone through the beams. Rob Deckett's going to get a win here in round 1. Goes through, runs a 7.10, but Aaron Tremayne dragged through the beams there. Not what they would have hoped for from the team.
No, absolutely not. Kerry Tremayne, I thought I was going to talk to you about 2 rounds and 2 wins. What happened there? Line lock fail?
Yeah, it looks like it just as soon as he hit the throttle, it just went forward. So maybe line lock fail or something. Yeah. Usually they got heaps of brake pressure, so they shouldn't move. So
it's a bit bizarre. Let's wind the clock back to the past before, where Aaron got the win. It's a little bit of a puff of smoke. There's a bit of a concern.
Yeah, we'll have a look at that when we get back, and hopefully everything's okay.
Only 1 car to work on, unfortunately. Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah, we're down here with Aaron Tremayne, mate. You get yourself a win, and you're really tough conditions there. You've still run a 6.99.
Yeah, pretty good run for the session, I think. We'll see what Wayne goes here, but you know, we're just chipping away at it. The track's pretty hot, so that, you know, considering, you know, the weather, yeah, it's definitely a pretty good run. I think to go in the 90s in this weather is pretty good. So, Tyron, obviously something happened to his car, so we'll just have to get back, have a look at the data, and hopefully keep going rounds.
Well, you got 1 car to work on, so let's turn around.
Yeah, that's it. Thanks, mate.
Always full of surprises is round 1. Congratulations to Rob Deckett, commiserations to Aaron Tremayne, and now we're heading into this matchup that you were looking forward to, Mark.
That I am. It's a bit misleading. We see that Chris Soldatis in the number 8 spot. We're on board with Wayne Daly now backing up from the burnout. We should see a crew member come in shot very shortly. There we go. The crew members will actually guide him now, because obviously he doesn't have a mirrors or anything, you know, letting him know where he's on track, so they'll guide him in the tracks where they want the car to launch on the pass. As you can see, Chris Soldatis here backing up on that burnout mark as well. So they like to try and maximise everything and anything on these tracks. So that's one of the critical points, your staging position of the car for the launch.
Yeah, we talk about in Pro Stock all of these little 1%ers and half percenters to look for improvement. That comes down to those wheelie bar settings. That comes down to putting your car exactly in its own tyre tracks, because when you do the burnout, not only do you heat the tyres, but you actually lay hot, sticky rubber onto the racing surface itself, put them together, and it's like contact cement.
Wayne Daly now moving forward, just tiny changes there on the steering wheel. Let's move forward. You can see the crew will bring him up about 6 inches short of the pre-stage area, and that's where he'll go through his staging routine.
Most important thing for the drivers now, focus and concentrate on the Christmas tree lights, and then the only light they're worried about is the shift light right in front of them to tell them when to pull the next gear.
Wayne Daly with a big hole shot over Soldatis, but he's right beside him.
That's so close.
It's a whole shot win to Wayne Daly. Number 1 qualifier getting a whole shot win. 7.11 to a 7.06 from our number 8 qualifier for Chris Soldatis. What a race, Rob. Insane round 1.
I thought Soldatis had that. Wayne Daly had the jump or the reaction time, as you say, but then the car wasn't as quick in that first part of the racetrack as it has been. Soldatis, well, he's just hunting him down. They are locked together. The win margin is into the thousandths of a second. Man, oh man, you said it was going to be a great race. We didn't know it was going to be this great. That was so close.
Yes, a few surprises in Pro Stock, certainly. Wayne Daly was our number 1 qualifier. Struggled a little bit there getting off the line. Lots of shake, but you've got a whole shot win over Chris Soldatis.
Well, I'm glad I did, because I thought for one moment there that we weren't going to win that one. It shook real bad, and I drove through it, which I wouldn't normally do, but I had to give it my best shot.
Yeah, you definitely did, because we need to see you in round number 2.
We do. I totally agree. Thanks, guys.
Certainly the sort of weather that Wayne needs that cool suit, but he's fought his way through to the semi-finals, where Wayne Daly will face Jason Hedges. Rob Deckett is going to face Aaron Tremayne in probably the race of his life to try and squeeze into the first Pro Stock final of his career. Jason Hedges races back to the pits. He doesn't want to miss the semi-finals, and neither should you. That's coming up after this break. Welcome back to the Atlantic Oil East Coast Thunder at Sydney Dragway on this warm Saturday afternoon. We've got a great crowd in, and we're about to move into the semi-final of Pro Stock Eliminator in this brand new season of 400 Thunder drag racing. And, well, everybody is enjoying the atmosphere here at Sydney Dragway.
We are on board with the first car in the semi-finals. Wayne Daly, our number one qualifier, scraped through that first round of racing. You're about to see him go through the burnout procedure here.
Well, this guy looked invincible in testing and then in qualifying, and comes out in round one. The car slows down by, 0.2 of a second, and he gets the win in a squeaker by virtue of a hole shot. Hey, this has to really, really give Jason Hedges some confidence in that black Pontiac GXP in beside Daly.
It definitely does. Well, Jason Hedges actually had lane choice here in the semi-final matchup, taking the right side of the track here. Wayne Daly backing up. You see the crew open up the doors, just get out any sort of excess smoke inside the cabin there, because you don't want to impair the driver's vision, obviously going into stage and going down at over 300 kilometres an hour.
Yeah, I think with lane choice here, it's only a little bit of a bragging rights thing, because the Sydney Dragway track crew have done a fantastic job of making sure that not only are the lanes very, very good from a traction department, but they're also very even.
Well, sometimes the drivers just like the lane choice because of where they're seated in their car, so they like to be on the side where they're looking straight at the Christmas tree and not over their scoop like Wayne Daly is right now. So he'll be looking at the tree over his scoop as he goes into stage, and so some of the drivers just like the lane where they've got better vision of the tree.
Yeah, but I guess it doesn't worry Wayne too much, because that's the lane he chose in round one. Now it's a case of Jason Hedges. Missed a few rounds last season. We could just about call him the comeback kid. Can he take it to our number one qualifier, Wayne Daly, in the Diamond T Custom Toolboxes Dodge? Oh, Daly left tyre tracks like a Caterpillar bulldozer on the start line. It will be Jason Hedges. Not overly quick with a 7:08, 311, but he is going to the final of Pro Stock. Wayne Daly looked like tyre shake off the start line or something,
You
Mark.
could see the chatter marks there behind Daly's car. Look at the Sunoco replay here. We're on the side of the track with Jason Hedges. He had a slight hole shot and drove it all the way home. He had a little bit of shake there as well, but not as much as Daly. Daly actually had better speed than Hedges, so the horsepower was there, but that start line. The start line again for Wayne Daly. The gremlins from round one with the tyre shake came back here in the semi-finals. This time he's not lucky enough to get the win. It's going to be Jason Hedges through the final.
What a result for Jason Hedges. Let's see whether they can pick this up inside. That vibration shows how savage it is inside the car when you get tyre shake. The tyres go out around and literally try and run over themselves. So it will be Jason Hedges to the final. Is he going to face Aaron Tremayne in the Tremayne Racing Next Gen Engineering Pontiac GXP? Or will it be that man, Rob Deckett?
Well, I'm just looking at Rob Deckett's side of the track. He hasn't actually completed a burnout over that side. It's sort of gripped and launched there for Rob Deckett. So that could be an issue for the team. The Sydney Dragway is prepped pretty well here, the racetrack surface itself, but definitely not ideal the way you want to start your semi-final matchup against the champ in Aaron Tremayne.
Well, when the reaction time is so critical and you have to hit every gear shift to within like 30 or 40 RPM, you don't want anything that's going to distract the driver's brain from focusing on that job. And even a little problem in a burnout like that can be distractive.
Definitely, it does play in your mind a little bit. So the driver, he could be playing on his mind going into stage. Aaron Tremayne, though, he'll have all the confidence in the world. Who will join Jason Hedges in the final?
Oh, Deckett's got a problem.
He's got
he's got no control of that car. It stopped in the wrong lane. Meanwhile, Aaron Tremayne clicks it off early and rolls to a 9.17 at only 168 kilometres an hour. Leaves us with two questions. Rob Deckett, what happened to his car? And Aaron Tremayne, is that one hurt? But it's Jason Hedges going to the final. That one we do know.
Well, Jason Hedges, you look like you're back on track and you are going through to the final of the Atlantic Oils East Coast Thunder.
I think it's a bit of luck, mate. We're not back on track. We got down, but it was pretty rough. But we've had 3 rough rides, so hopefully we can put together in the final against the best in the sport, which is Aaron Tremayne, and there's no doubt about that.
Yeah, he's going to be a hard rival to beat, but, he's not unbeatable. People have done it before.
Yeah, I know. We used to be old teammates and we're still great mates. But, hey, we'll just go back, look at our data, make the best changes we can, and if I can drink my orange juice and cut a better light, I'll be happy.
No worries. Good luck.
Thanks, mate. Cheers.
On the Sunoco replay, let's see if we can see what goes wrong with Rob Deckett's car. Launches well. He's off the throttle and, oh, look at that front wheel. It's going everywhere. Is front end problem or something, Mark?
I'm not sure, mate. I look at this and sometimes I think about the steering wheel. I'm thinking the steering wheel may have come off. They've got a little clip inside the rack there. If you don't put it in properly on the launch, they hit about 3 Gs. So it hits you pretty hard. So sometimes the arms pull the steering wheel back and pops off. So I'm not sure. There could have been odd things there. You could see the front wheel shaking as well.
Not a mystery, though. Mark Allen is right onto it. Exactly what he said. Steering wheel.
Yeah, steering wheel's fallen off. It looks like when it's gone top of first gear, he's gone to pull it or it shook. And this unique smash press VP Fuels GXP's fought us all weekend. We stole a win first round. If the wheel had stayed on, we probably would have stolen another one and got to the final. But little things. Those 1%ers just kill us every single time. Those 1%ers are just killing us, and we're making crap runs. And we should know better. But yeah, we'll come back and we'll be there in Queensland in a couple of months.
All right, mate, best wishes. Yeah, it's just so annoying when everything else works, but the things that you just take for granted don't work in your favour. Let's have another look at that run and keep your eyes on it now, knowing that you've got a car with thousands of horsepower and you just lose the steering wheel.
He's going back to another final in Pro Stock here at the East Coast Thunder. Aaron Tremayne, you're in the final again.
Yeah, our car got a bit lucky that round. Robbie went red, so I seen the red light and pushed the clutch in. So, save the engine for another pass. So, hopefully got Jason the next one. He ran good then, so it should be a good final. Hopefully I can go down, run another decent pass, and see how we go.
No worries. Good luck.
Thanks, eh?
Well, there was so much went on in that run, I didn't even notice the red light because it was all happening immediately. Look at that. That's the way they've got there. It will be Jason Hedges, who was on the outside of the field. He's made it all the way to the final to face Aaron Tremayne, who's had his own problems with a puff of smoke spotted by Benny Bishop out of the car in round 1, and then he's had to shut it off in round 2. Let's get down to our man on the ground, Benny Bishop.
Yeah, absolutely. Literally on the ground, mate. Standing next to something that was actually mounted into the Tremayne Racing entry just less than an hour ago. But already the new Bullet is in. Brother Tiggs is on the scene here, mate. What's the story? This engine compared to the one that you had in it?
Oh, mate, the motor we've had to put in, we've had a little bit of trouble with the other one. We're just getting our head around this fuel a bit. It seems fine, but we did want to risk it. So it was still running, but we just thought we'd put the spare in to be safe. We can't afford to keep hurting these things, so we're just playing it safe. And this is down a little bit on power, but I'll tell you what, we'll give Jason a good race.
All right, a B motor, you think?
It's a B motor, mate, but it'll still be good.
It'll be still good, all right. Keep your eyes on these guys coming up for the final of Pro Stock very soon.
Well, it's a B motor, but it'll be good. Will it be good enough? Because he's going to take on Jason Hedges, who you'd normally call an underdog in this situation, but I'm not so sure now.
Well, I can tell you what, Jason Hedges is hungry. He has got 4 runner-ups to his name in Pro Stock, still looking for that first victory.
Well, could come here at the Atlantic Oil East Coast Thunder on Sydney Dragway. Let's have a look how Jason got to the final. In round 1, this was the matchup I was looking forward to. Nino Cavello in the Cavello Drainage Mopar. Plenty of horsepower on board. I honestly thought that this was probably going to be a race that had come out in the red car's favour, but we see Cavallo faded and Jason Hedges marched on, got the win, not particularly fast, but a win is a win.
And with that ET, actually had lane choice over our number one qualifier, Wayne Daly in the semi-finals. Wayne Daly having some issues in round one with a bit of tyre shake, and he was looking to overcome those gremlins, but it was again Jason Hedges moving forward here, getting the win.
Well, Hedges v Daly. It's a race that you'd think would go to the Diamond T Custom Toolboxes car, but right there on the start line, tyre shake cost Daly dearly, and he could not make up the distance, and Jason Hedges goes into another final, and it's the one that he wants to win most because he wants one of those 400 Thunder gold Christmas tree trophies. But this guy is out there to stop him. Aaron Tremayne, the reigning champion, and in round one he faced Bruce Leake.
Yeah, Bruce Leake looking for the upset here. It wasn't to be as Aaron Tremayne gets the round one win here against Bruce Leake. Both cars moving forward. Tremayne obviously had a little bit of luck here as well. There was a bit of a puff of smoke that we heard from Benny Bishop in this round of racing. He got the win though.
Benny's got good eyes because I couldn't pick that from our camera shot.
You could just see the haze to the side of the engine there. Semi-finals time. You know what? Drag racers always say it's better to be lucky than good, and that's what happened here in this round of racing against Rob Deckett for Aaron Tremayne.
Well, Deckett was looking to go into his first ever Pro Stock final. He did go red, so it was all over at that point, but then of course the steering wheel came off. That gave him problems. Aaron clicked it off to save that engine, and well, he red lit, then crossed the centre line, so that made it game over. Aaron Tremayne with a B motor. They're waiting to see whether it's going to be good enough against Jason Hedges, looking for his first ever victory in the Pro Stock category.
Could it be fifth time lucky for Jason Hedges here, on board with Hedges backing up in the burn? And this is what I was talking about, that smoke earlier today. You can sort of see it filling up in the cabin there. The crew have the doors open, getting it out of there because obviously you don't want to impair your vision going at 300 kilometres an hour.
You can see Jason there has his shift light mounted high off the roll cage. It's all up to the driver's own preference where they do it, but it is one of the most critical pieces in those cars because you set it to exactly just flash on when the engine reaches a preset RPM, and the theory is by the time you respond to that, pull the next gear, it's right on the sweet spot.
Aaron Tremayne with the B engine coming forward. First pass for this engine this weekend. Every engine has its own personality as well, so you don't usually do the setups the same between each engines. So they're on behind the 8 ball here in the final.
Slide hole shot to Tremayne, I think. Tremayne still in front. Hedges coming at him. This is oh so close. 7:01 beats a 7:07. 313 kilometres an hour on each side of the track. Jason Hedges has his maiden Pro Stock victory.
The maiden Pro Stock victory, and will leave this event number one in points as well. On board with Aaron Tremayne, went 0.15 on the reaction time to an 0.7. He did everything right as a driver, but the B engine didn't have enough horsepower to hold Jason Hedges back. He gets the win for SRP and J&D Cabinetry as well.
Fantastically popular win around the raceway, that is for sure. Not to take anything away from Aaron Tremayne, he absolutely did everything possible as a driver and almost pulled that one out of the fire.
On board Hedges, going through the gears. He is our winner. Benny Bishop on the start line with his crew chief.
4 thousandths of a second.
Yeah, she was a close race. It's we've been fighting the car all weekend or the track, and we found something then, and I'm just so happy for Jace. That's his first win in Pro Stock, and to those guys, can't believe it.
You could just tell the emotion. First Christmas tree, phenomenal.
I definitely do have an excited Pro Stock driver. I think he's fumbling around just trying to get out of this car because he wants to jump around. I can see how excited he is. We can hear him in the car a bit. Jason Hedges, you've gone to the final of the Atlantic Oils East Coast Thunder and Pro Stock. You've got yourself a gold Christmas tree, and you've won by 4 thousandths of a second.
And oh my, it's been a long time coming, and We have not had a lot of luck, and we dropped the season, and what we've done today is absolutely amazing, and this is my first tree, and to Danny Selva, Jason DeBono, Ryan, Cameron, my wife, everyone that helped us. We've been doing it tough, but we just kept persistent all day and just playing with it little bit by little bit, and lots of orange juices, and we're here.
I tell you, I don't know what's in the orange juice, but I want some.
Thanks, mate. Much better. Again, J&D Custom Cabbage and SRP, they helped me out, fix the repaired motor. We had a miss, that we dropped the season, and here we are testing and holding the gold one.
Congratulations.
Thank you, mate. Thank you so much. Yeah! Hello, mate.
Great to see the camaraderie between the former teammates there as Jason Hedges grabs his first gold, and he grabs the #1 spot on the new season point score. 105 ahead of Aaron Tremayne, Wayne Daly, Rob Deckett, Tyrone Tremayne down in 5. Nino Cavello, Bruce Lee, Chris Soldatis, Clint George making up our 9 on the board. We are going to have a fantastic season of Pro Stock, and the next time we see them will be at the New Year's Thunder at Willowbank Raceway on Saturday, 4th of January. They'll be up there along with Top Fuel, Pro Alcohol, Pro Stock Motorcycle, and a big program of sportsman racing. So check out Willowbank Raceway's website. They've got some great ticket packages for Christmas as well. Then we move back here to Sydney Dragway for the Santos Summer Thunder. Top Fuel, Under Lights, along with Pro Slammer and all the categories of sportsman racing. Absolutely stunning. But we're not finished with the Atlantic Oils East Coast Thunder yet, because next time on the show, we're going to bring you one of the most exciting pro alcohol brackets that we've seen in a long time. These guys are absolutely hitting their straps. The racing was fearsome. The results were great. We'll bring you that next time. But today, it's all about Jason Hedges and his first ever win in the Pro Stock category. An enormous achievement to come from outside the field to get the win right at the end.
It's crazy, man. It's a crazy sport.
Coming up after the break, we head to the Calder Park Thunderdome in Melbourne for the 4th round of the High Tech Drift All-Star Series.